Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Robert Greene's Law 5 might be one of the most important laws in the whole book because it deals with something people feel every day, whether they know it or not. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. That's the law. And if you really understand it, you start seeing that reputation is not something shallow for vain people. It's not just about image. It's not just about looking good. It's about what people expect from you before you've even opened your mouth. It's the story that walks into the room before you do. That's why it matters so much. If your reputation's strong, people will give you the benefit of doubt. They trust your word faster, they listen harder, they think twice before crushing you. They assume there's weight behind what you say. But if your reputation's weak or unstable, sloppy or dishonest, then even when you tell the truth, you've already lost ground. People hear you through the filter of what they think you are. That's what Law 5 is really about. It's about protecting the invisible force that shapes how the world receives you. Think about a man at work who's known for being solid, turns up on time, does what he says, doesn't gossip, doesn't make noise for attention, is calm under pressure. Now imagine that man says, "There's a problem here." The whole room stops and listens. Why? Because he's built a reputation for being measured. Now picture another man, late, messy, always talking, always blaming, always full of excuses. He says the same sentence, "There's a problem here," but it lands differently. Same words, different reputation, different results. That's the law in real life. Your reputation changes the weight of your voice. So let's dig a bit deeper. A lot of people think reputation's built in big moments. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's built in small moments, repeated over and over again. The way you answer messages, the way you handle pressure, the way that you speak about people when they're not there, the way you carry yourself when nobody's watching, the way you act after a win, the way you act after a loss. That's where your reputation's really built, quietly, slowly. Then one day it becomes your name. And once your name carries a meaning, life gets easier or harder, depending on what the meaning is. That's why Greene says, guard it with your life. Because once a bad reputation's been attached to you, people stop dealing with what you're doing now and start dealing with the label that they've already placed on you. If they think you're careless, every mistake confirms it. If they think you're unstable, every strong emotion confirms it. If they think you're dishonest, every delay confirms it. That's how powerful reputation really is. It makes people interpret you through a story that's already been decided. They already believe it. So what Law 5 is asking you to do right now? First, understand that reputation is a form of power. If people see you as disciplined, that's power. If people see you as trustworthy, that's power. If people see you as dangerous to play with, that is power. If people see you as calm, sharp, and self controlled, that's power. Because power's not always force, a lot of the time it's expectation. The expectation that you're not to be underestimated. The expectation that your word means something. The expectation that there's a cost to playing games with you. Now, here's the second part. You don't build a strong reputation by trying to look strong all day. That's where people get it wrong. They perform, they force it, they overtalk, they try to sell themselves. They usually backfire. Real reputation is not built by announcements, it's built by patterns. If you want a reputation for being solid, be solid. If you want a reputation for being calm, stop reacting to everything. If you want a reputation for being sharp, stop speaking carelessly. And if you want a reputation for being trustworthy, always do what you say you will do. This law is very unforgiving on that point. You don't get the reputation you ask for, you get the reputation that your behaviour earns. That's why this law can help you, but it can also expose you. If your behaviours measure your reputation will eventually show it. So let's talk about how to use it. Use it by deciding what your name is going to mean. That's the first move. When people hear your name, what do you want to come into their mind? Do you want them to think he's reliable, he's sharp, he's not to be messed with, he's steady, he's honest, he's discreet? He finishes what he starts. Pick it. Because if you don't define your reputation on purpose, other people will define it for you. And once you do that, you'll spend years trying to climb out of a box that you never meant to step into. Your next move is consistency. Not intensity, consistency. Anyone can look good for a week. Anyone can act disciplined when eyes are on them. Anyone can be impressive in one conversation. Reputation's built when the same standard shows up again and again and again. That's why people with real reputations often look boring from the outside. They're steady. They're not random. They're not one person on Monday and another person on Thursday. People know what they get. And that creates trust. And trust creates reach. So let's use this law in work. Let's think about this because work's one of the clearest places to see it. At work, your reputation decides who gets included, who gets overlooked, who gets trusted, who gets promoted, and who gets quietly pushed to the side. If you're known as the one who finishes things, people will hand you bigger things. If you're known as the one who complains, people will stop bringing you serious opportunities. If you're known as the one who talks too much, people will stop trusting you with important information. If you're known as the one who can carry pressure without falling apart, people see you differently. That's Law 5, working every single day. It's not abstract, it's practical. Let's bring this into your relationships now. The law matters here, big time. If your reputation in love is that you disappear when things get hard, your word doesn't mean anything. If your reputation is that you're honest, steady, and emotionally safe, then your presence itself starts carrying reassurance. Same with your friendships. If your name means gossip, drama, unreliability, inconvenience, people might still talk to you, but they will not hand you their real self. But if your name means loyalty, steadiness, and discretion, they'll trust you with everything. So your reputation is not only about success, it's about access. The better your reputation, the deeper the trust that you receive. Let me tell you now how to protect it. The first way that you protect your reputation is not by doing stupid things in emotional moments. A lot of people spend years building trust and destroy it in 10 minutes because they can't control themselves. One public outburst, one petty message, one lie, one cheap act, one loose mouth. It leads into a moment of ego. That's all it takes. So if you care about your reputation, you have to care about self-control, especially when you're angry, embarrassed, jealous, or trying to prove something. The second way is by trying to stay away basically from people whose chaos spills into people's lives. You need to stay away from these people, let me tell you. If you're always standing next to mess, people start reading some of that mess as yours. If you're always with liars, clowns, gossipers, and unstable people, eventually your own name gets mixed with theirs. That's not always fair, but it's real. Reputation is social. The company around you affects how people read you. The third way is by correcting lies early. If someone's trying to stain your name, don't always ignore it and hope that it dies down on its own. Sometimes silence looks wise, sometimes silence looks weak. Use your judgment here. If the lie's small and the source is irrelevant, don't feed it. But if the lie can grow roots, deal with it clearly and early, not emotionally, not wildly, clearly, calmly, firmly. Protect your name before the stain spreads. But there's another 5 to Law 5 that really matters. Greene also understood that reputation can be used offensively. If people know you're not easy to trick, they try less. If people know that you're calm and deliberate, they become more careful around you. I know this for a fact. If people know that you don't fold under pressure, they stop using that cheap pressure against you. That's why a strong reputation saves you battles that you never even see. A lot of power is quiet prevention. The fight never starts because your name already won them. That's why the law's so important. A weak reputation forces you to explain yourself all the time. A strong reputation makes explanations less necessary. Let me give you a practical lesson. Guard your word, guard your habit, guard your temper, guard your company, guard your standards. Because all of those things are feeding your name. And your name's not small, your name's a signal. It tells people what to expect before you even arrive, so build it on purpose. Make it mean something. Make it mean something steady. Make it mean something clean. Then protect it like it's one of the most important things that you own, because it is. Law 5 is simple. If your reputation's strong, it works for you before you've even spoken. If your reputation's weak, you'll spend your life trying to climb uphill against a story that got there before you. So don't treat your name lightly, build it carefully, carry it properly, and guard it with your life. This is how it is, my friends. You take care and stay blessed. This is the way. Namaste.